All right, so very important that we see Christianity and discipleship as not an easygoing life at all, but a demanding lifestyle, um, a life that calls us um, to uh, live with understanding, because everybody else around us does not understand that and are not expecting us to live like that. So we need to not only understand it by ourselves, but apply wisdom in the way we live according to this purpose. All right. That reminds us of these 10 women or 10 virgins, as they are referred to, who went to a wedding feast. And the five of them were said to be wise, and the other five were said to be foolish. And the distinguishing factor in between these 10 was not their height, was not their beauty, was not their elegance of their clothes, or even the form or type of lamp they carried. It was what they did before they started the journey, before the journey even started to go to where they were going to. It was that distinguished them. Notice that, for example, while the bridegroom tarried, all of them fell asleep, both the wise and the non-wise. So it's not what they did in the interim that distinguished them. What distinguished them happened before they even started the journey. Now let's look at the word wisdom. Wisdom is the ability to make right choices in the context of ultimate advantages. Can I go through it again? Is the ability to make right choices or decisions in the light or context of ultimate advantages. So, wisdom is an ability. That's the first thing. It involves making choices or decisions from time to time. The wise are called wise because of the type of decision they make or choice they make, right? Now, that choice has to be based on ultimate advantages. In other words, these people are able to say, if I make this decision like this is the ultimate advantage is going to yield me. Then we say, this man is a wise man. But a person who takes decisions or makes choices on the basis of just immediate advantages and does not think of ultimate advantages is foolish. All right? Is foolish. All right. So back again to these virgins. What was the advantage that they were looking for? What was the ultimate advantage that they were looking for? The ultimate advantage they were looking for was entering in with the bridegroom. That was what the entire story is about. The ultimate thing was not the dress they will wear, it was not the lamp they will carry, it was not even the oil. Ultimately, what they were looking for is, I want to enter when the bridegroom comes. All right? All right? And it was on that basis that they made the choices that they made. All right? They made their decisions based on the fact that, what will I do now to make sure that by the time the bridegroom comes, I'm going to be entering with him with my lamp still burning? All right. So they decided, ah, the way to do it is to take extra oil. The other people were foolish because although they had the same goal, they too wanted to enter when the bridegroom comes, but they did not think, what do I do now to make sure that my lamp will still be burning? by the time the bridegroom comes. As a result of the fact that they didn't think these things through properly beforehand, they did not make preparations adequately for the matter. And that was why they were foolish. All right? Proverbs 4:7 says, wisdom is the main thing. Get wisdom. With all you're getting, get understanding. This is the modern King James Version. Wisdom is the main thing. Get wisdom. And with all you're getting, get understanding. The Message version says, above all and before all, do this. Get wisdom. Write this at the top of your list. Get understanding. Oh, may God help us. A lot of people are living through this world without getting wisdom. They don't even know where we are going. They don't know what we are here for. They don't know what the right decisions are, what their ultimate advantage would be. They're therefore not living according to it. Why? They are not wise. They are not wise. And the NIV says, the beginning of wisdom is this: get wisdom. Though it costs all you have, get understanding. My dear, particularly the young people among us, the people attending this youth conference today, the beginning of all wisdom is this: get wisdom. Though it costs you all you have, get understanding. In other words, get to know what the ultimate end of this life thing is all about. Where are we going? What are we in this life for? How do we get advantage at that final stage of life? What must I do now to enable me get that advantage? A lot of Christians have thought that the real ultimate end of life is just to go to heaven. I beg to differ. Going to heaven is very important, of course, so that you don't go to hell. If you go to hell, you have lost it all. But there's more than going to heaven. There's more to life than just going to heaven. We'll be talking about this as we move on. There is something much more valuable than just entering heaven. Jesus didn't just save us to just manage to enter heaven. The world does not understand these things. Your schools, your universities will not teach you these things. Luke 16:8 says, the children of this world are wiser in their own ways than the children of light, unfortunately. Although they don't know this purpose of life, they have their own purpose and are very wise about it. For example, people spend the first part of their lives, maybe the first 20 some years of their lives, getting an education. And why do they want that education? Because then they will have a profession or they have a vocation. And then they can then spend the rest of their lives being provided for by that foundation they have built. That is the wisdom of the world. And it's very good. The Lord is saying they are wise. They are wise. In other words, they consider the end from the beginning. Let me give you another illustration. Many of those who work pay into some kind of pension fund. When you pay into a pension fund, you are taking that money from money you could have been spending on your welfare and well-being. Now, why are you depriving yourself to put money in the pension fund? Because of the ultimate The end, you know that in the end, you will no longer be able to be working. In the end, you will not be earning a salary, but then you would have saved up this money, which will now mature and then begin to pay you a monthly remuneration to be able to live your old age out. So this deprivation you have done for yourself now, you have done it with the mind of what you're going to gain from it in future. In the light of you make present day sacrifices. That's how the world lives. From Matthew 16, 1 to 8, the scripture says, and he also said to his disciples, there was a certain rich man who had a steward, and he was accused to him that he was wasting his goods. And he called him and said to him, what is this I hear about you? Give an account of your stewardship, for you may no longer be steward. And the steward said within himself, what shall I do? For my Lord is taking the stewardship away from me. I cannot dig. I'm ashamed to beg. I know what I will do, so that when I'm put out of this stewardship, they may receive me to their houses. So he called every one of his Lord's debtors and said to the first, how much do you owe my Lord? And he said, 100 baths of oil. And he said to him, take your bill and sit down quickly and write 50. And he said to another, and how much do you owe? And he said, 100 kor of wheat. And he said to him, take your bill and write 80. And the unjust steward's Lord commended him because he had done wisely. For the children of this world are in their generation wiser than the children of light. Very interesting story. And Jesus told this story to illustrate the fact that the people of this world are wiser in their generation than we who are the children of light. In other words, the people of this world take the ultimate in view in making their decisions about how to live. And apparently, the children of the generation of light do not do accordingly. We do not think about the ultimate. We only think about the present. Many Christians don't think about the ultimate. Look at this man. His master said to him, you are going to be sacked. Go and get your books in order and make your final report. You're out, you've lost your job. And what does he say? He says to himself, what am I going to do? He evaluates the situation. He says, I'm going to be out of job. And when I leave this job, I know I'm too lazy to dig. I know I'm too shy to beg. So I have to do something that will make these people receive me into their houses. In other words, I want to get into their favor while I'm still alive, while I still can. While I still can do something, I want to benefit them so that at the end, when I have no more resources, they will receive me into their houses. That's wisdom. Although it's only the wisdom of the world, according to what the Lord says, because they receive him or they don't receive him, he has cheated, he has told lies. In eternity, he will suffer for it in hellfire. So that is not ultimate wisdom according to the children of light. But we who are the children of light, we are not considering such things when making decisions. All right? When, for example, considering our use of time, considering our use of resources, when I have money, what do I think about? Do I think about how I'm going to use it to enjoy? Or am I thinking about how can I use this money in such a way that by the time I'm no longer able to use this money, by the time money becomes meaningless to me by the time I die, I will still benefit from my use of this money at this time. I don't know whether you're following what I'm talking about. How do I utilize resources now? How do I utilize time now? How do I utilize energy now? So that ultimately, when I'm unable by virtue of death to utilize these resources anymore, I will still be benefiting from them ultimately. That is wisdom. That is wisdom. That's why the master commended this man, although he was dishonest. It says, for the people of this world are more shrewd in dealing with their own kind than the people of light. And the lesson we have to learn from it is, how do we, as the people of light, live shrewdly or wisely with the people that we interact with the time we have, with the resources we have, so as to benefit eternally. For example, in the choice of marriage partners, when choosing somebody you are to marry, in the choice of career, the job you are to do, in the choice of where you are to live, do you consider the ultimate? How does this thing help me? How do I benefit from this thing ultimately by the time I get to heaven? This matter of marriage, the person I'm to marry, this person of a choice of career, what job will I do? What job will benefit me? Most people will be thinking of which one will benefit me here and now, immediately, which one pays more salary now. Yeah, no, I will no longer do law because it doesn't pay immediately. Only a few people benefit when they do law. Maybe I should do medicine. Maybe that will pay me more. Or maybe I should do finance and banking. That one will pay more, and so on and so forth. You're thinking only of this world. What about the next world? What about where to live? How do I choose where I'm living? Is it based on this life, or is it based on ultimate advantage? How do the life goals of Christians tend to resemble that of the non-Christians? In fact, in many of these instances, people make choices, even Christians make choices. The choices Christians make don't differ from that of unbelievers when it comes to married partner. Oh, the girl is very beautiful. Very slim, very tall. In fact, fair complexion. So let's go for her. Is that your reason for your choice? Or this, as I said before, this career pays well. I'm going to job, you know, or I'm going to live in a city. Oh, wow, the beautiful part of the city, the posh part of the city where the nicest houses are. You're just like an unbeliever. You're not thinking long term. You're not thinking ultimate. And therefore, you are not wise in the sight of God. That's what the Bible is talking about. As an example okay, so I wanted us to discuss this, but I don't think we have time for that discussion today. But maybe you can discuss it on your own. How should a Christian, what are the criteria a Christian should use in making decisions on marriage partner, on choice of career, on a place of residence? How should they differ from the choices the world makes, the people of the world make? All right. So how do we prepare in this season to bring ultimate reward? How do I live now with the ultimate reward in mind, with the ultimate result in mind? How in what way should I live now? What sacrifices do I need to make now that will pay me ultimately? Look at what Paul says in 1 Timothy 6, 17 to 19. Command those who are rich in the present world not to be arrogant, nor to put their hope in wealth, which is so uncertain, but to put their hope in God, who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment. Command them to do good, to be rich in good deeds, and to be generous and willing to share. Verse 19. In this way, they will lay up treasures for themselves as a firm foundation for the coming age, so that they may take hold of the life that is truly life. Ha! May God give us understanding. This is the issue that talks about the ultimate. Look at that verse 19 again. It says, in this way, they will lay up treasures for themselves. Treasures for themselves as a foundation for the coming age, so that they may take hold of the life that is truly life. I want us to really pay attention to these scriptures. We'll take verse 19, then we'll go backwards and go on to verse 17. In this way, I'll leave that part because that's in the other verses. They will lay up treasures for themselves. They will lay up treasures. Treasures. What is treasure? Treasure is some precious possession that imbues advantages in life to the possessor over those who don't have it. So it may be, you may consider it like money, but obviously in this case, it's not money in terms of dollars and pounds and euros and what do they call their currency in South Africa? Okay, I don't remember, but it's not that. Or what is it again?
Rand.
Rand, that's right, Rand, South African Rand, correct. Yes. No, it's not Naira either. But it is something that will become useful to you and accord you certain advantages that others who don't have it will not have. Because he says these treasures are for themselves. It's not for all. The treasure are going to be personal. And he says these treasures will become a firm foundation for the coming age. I'm coming to the age part, but a firm foundation. What does foundation mean? In a building, we call the initial part of the structure a foundation. When we want to build a structure, we dig down, we lay some blocks and create a floor. The taller the building is supposed to be, the deeper the foundation will be, all right? To make it firm, we pour concrete in it, you know, so that it can bear the building. So this treasure, which will be for these people, for themselves, will be a firm foundation that will bear the coming age. Well, again, hold on, we're coming to the coming age. But there's this age that is to come is a life of its own. This age that we're in now, this age we're in now, the resources you have, you didn't plan for it. You didn't work for it. You didn't merit it by doing some things or demerit it by not doing some things. It just so happened. For example, if you are intelligent, you didn't do anything to merit that intelligence. If you're handsome or beautiful, you didn't do anything to merit it. If your parents are rich, you didn't do anything to merit it, you just came into that. But in the age to come, can you notice from this scripture that you are the one to provide for yourself the foundation, if you like, the investment. In other words, when we enter that life, that age to come, we are to bring along with us certain amount of treasure, which we will then invest. It's a foundation, you see. It will be, you will not invest to reap in that life. That foundation, that treasure may be the glory. It may appear as glory. It may appear as higher position. It may appear as more territory to take charge of, and so on. But that's your foundation in the coming age. There is a coming age. Of course, we know there's a coming age. Of course, we know that there is a world to come. We're going to be zoomed into that life when this life is over, whether by death or by the rapture. We are going to be zoomed into that life. But when you are going there, you are going carrying your foundation. You are going there with your foundation. Well, you see some people, their foundation will not be firm. You see? Because he says the treasure that they have, the people who will obey the instruction he's giving here will carry a firm foundation with them. Those who do not take this instruction seriously cannot take a firm foundation with them in the coming age. He says those who take the firm foundation with them to the coming age, they will be able to take hold of the life that is truly life. Wow. They will be able to take hold, if you like, they will be able to enjoy the life that is truly life. The life in this age is not truly life. This thing we are going through now is not the real life. This is not life. This is preparatory to the real life. This is a life where you lay foundation. Oh, may God help us to understand. You see, just like a foundation of a building is underground, covered, sealed up, so is this life. This life is going to be underground. It's going to be covered. It's going to be sealed up. The real life is still to come. The true life is still to come. And this life is only useful as a foundation, but you got to make it firm so that it can bear the life that is truly life. The more you can invest into this life wisely, the more you can have in the life to come to enjoy. This life lasts for a short time. If you live very long, you live for 100 years. But that's a very, very short time compared to the eternity that the life to come is inviting us to have. And what we are learning from this lesson is that what you will be in that life to come is determined by what kind of foundation you lay now. The quality of your life there is not going to be accidental like this one you have here. You know, whether you're handsome or you're intelligent or you're rich or whatever, it just so happens. You didn't do anything about it. But in the one to come, that's why you are here, to build that foundation. You are here to prepare the ground so that you will be handsome or beautiful, which is a correct word to use, or to be rich or poor in that place is going to be determined by how you live now. So what's the instruction Paul was giving them to make them have this firm foundation? In verse 17, he said, command those who are rich in this present world not to be arrogant, not to put their hope in wealth. Can you see that? Don't put your hope in wealth. Why? Because it's uncertain. But to put their hope in God, who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment. So we say, okay, these things have been provided for me by God. All I have now have been provided for me by God. And since I have in God, I'm going to use these same resources for God, because I know then it becomes a firm foundation. So the first way you have to lay the firm foundation is, first of all, what you are not to do. In the present world, don't become arrogant about what you have, whether it is beauty, or it is height, or it's good looks, or it's wealth, or it's position, or it's possessions. Don't be carried away by them. Don't become arrogant. Don't put your hope in them. They are so uncertain. Put your hope in God. So that's the first step. These are what not to do. Don't put your hope in the things you have. Now, don't count your success by what you have now, but put your hope in God. That's the first thing. Put your hope in God. Put your hope in God. All right. Second,